right, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel, and today we're going to go through the SmackDown review for the 1st of May. Can't believe we're in May. 1st of May 2020, and just an aside, I cannot believe this program is on network TV. But maybe it's that I've been a fan for 31 years. I remember the original Saturday Night's Main Event run. I remember when every segment on mainstream TV broadcast, non-cable television meant something. And wow, there's never been a time that I am more just disillusioned and saddened by what wrestling is becoming than watching SmackDown week in and week out. And I do it because I support, and a lot of people ask this question: if you're that disenfranchised with it, why do you watch? And I actually commented on The Elitist, which The Elitist is a fellow YouTuber. If you're not a member of his channel, go over and give him a subscribe. Yes, a guy who was on the independent circuit supporting a YouTuber with an opinion. Good gosh, let's blackball him. Anyway, so give him a subscribe. He's got some really interesting ideas. I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, but he did a video that I really enjoyed about the 9 types of fan, and I raised a 10th, which is what I call the Stockholm fan. The Stockholm fan is the fan who's been a fan for a long time, I'd say 10 years plus, and they know that the national products right now are horrid, or at least the product they grew up on is or the product that is put out that they're used to is horrid right now, but they continue to have hope that it'll get better. And I do consider myself a Stockholm fan. Of course, I have friends and former colleagues from the independent scene in almost every national company in the nation and a couple internationally. So I watch because I like to keep tabs on what my friends are doing. But suffice to say, if it wasn't that I had a passion for this, if pro wrestling hadn't saved my life as a youngster, I'd be out. I'd be so out. So anyway, we open the program. Daniel Bryan comes down to the ring. He notes that in less than a week and a half, he's going to be part of the most unique Money in the Bank ladder match in history. Match is taking place at WWE headquarters. He points out that everyone's going to go to the top of headquarters to get the Money in the Bank. He notes that he's wrestled in strange places, but never in an office building. He asks about taking the elevator to the top floor, which I think is funny. I actually think someone should do that just because it's fun. I did read, I think it was on the Observer website, I did read that they're going to do the women's and men's Money in the Bank matches simultaneously. I think that's a horrible idea. I don't like the idea of 6 people running around in a building as it is, let alone 12. But they're going to do what they're going to do. Just like I don't think this is a good idea to do it throughout a building. But again, they're going to do what they're going to do. These are not paid stunt actors. These are wrestlers who need a ring to be able to ply their craft effectively and efficiently and appropriately. Anyway, Brian is excited to compete. He said he's hoping to compete against Drew Gulak, but that's not happening. King Corbin walks out. Corbin says that he has defeated Gulak and that Cesaro and Nakamura have helped with this. We see footage of this from last week. Corbin promised he's going to stand tall in the ladder match. Brian noted that Corbin won Money in the Bank and blew it. He's one of 4 people to have done this. Now, a couple of things. Actually, a lot of things. Number 1, if you are an independent wrestler, if you are an independent promoter, may I caution you, doing knockoffs of WWE or national level events like Money in the Bank, the Royal Rumble, etc. and so forth, and I've had friends that do this, but I still hold to this. It's Bush League. It's stupid. Come up with your own concepts or stay home. Because I hate when I see independent companies, well, we're doing our version of Money in the Bank because we're special and we. Please, go ahead but a brick wall. If you can't come up with a unique concept, then maybe you don't need to be promoting. Maybe you need to be writing fantasy fiction. Um, anyway, that's number one, that people are going to rip this idea off. Number two is I would suspect that Brian Danielson, is one of the top 5, maybe 10 technical wrestlers of the last 10, if not 15 years. Why he needs a coach in Drew Gulak, who in the world of WWE has done Jack Rabbit, doesn't make sense. Wouldn't it make sense that Gulak, who has yet to really accomplish much, maybe he's won the Cruiserweight Championship, I don't remember, but that's about the best he's going to have done. Wouldn't it make sense that he would get an opportunity to have a coach like Daniel Bryan, who's a former world champion? No. We're doing the opposite because that's cool. That's never been done before. For a champion, for a former champion to have a coach, that's new ground. It's also stupider than a box of rocks. Anyway, Corbin, I'm not a fan. I'll admit it. Like, his matches with me, that's when I go get a snack. That's when I go to the restroom. That's when I check my email. For the most part, Baron Corbin, King Corbin, is a guy that I loved him in NXT when all he was doing was his finisher. I thought he was unique. I thought he had like a Goldberg vibe. The more I've seen him wrestle, the more I don't enjoy him. However, I don't have to enjoy him because what he is safe and he gets a reaction consistently, so I understand why he's employed. Gee, diplomacy, what an idea. Anyway, the other thing that I found really annoying about this promo is the announcers, probably half a dozen, if not more times, throughout the night, 82% of people who win Money in the Bank cash in. Bah! And they cash in and win. Bah! So that means that it's more likely than not that I'm going to see a new champion, which means that when a person wins, I should care a little less about it because I already know that coming somewhere within the next 365 days, more likely than not, is them winning a championship. I wish that number wasn't stressed so much. I also wish it was 50-50 on who might win. If it were me and I'm booking, I literally have the least likely person win at least one of these matches. Why not the men's match? Just to shake things up. Like, I think there's something to be said for Shayna Baszler winning and going on to face whomever the champion is at the time she chooses to face them. But why not do something random otherwise? So, we go to the match between Corbin and Daniel Bryan. I will admit, if Baron Corbin could wrestle like this on a regular basis, I would love his stuff. Daniel Bryan, who is one of the best in the world, brought so much out of him. Mat-based submission work early. Corbin gets an advantage, uses power. So Daniel breaks down the leg. Corey Graves noted that Corbin is smarter and better than he was when he won the Money in the Bank in 2017. Gee, I hope so. If a person gets dumber, we might want to worry about CTE. Bryan regains control using mat wrestling again and a series of submissions. I'm impressed because I didn't imagine Baron Corbin to be able to hold with him in a chain wrestling set of sequences, but he is. Okay, I admit I'm wrong. He's got something, he's just not put in there very often to be able to show it. So Bryan locks in what looks like an MMA style submission here and there. Fights back with kicks to the leg. They go out to the floor, and then Bryan goes into the post shoulder first. We go to a break. Corbin's in control. and we see several quick near falls from both sides where it looks like they're actually competing to win the match. Huge. Just huge. Love this. So, Corbin recovers and rocks Bryan with a series of clotheslines. Near falls. Bryan fights back, but Corbin's too large for him. Corbin attempts a clothesline, but then we see a suicide dive. A tope I actually support because it made sense in the structure of the match. If you have to do one, have a place to put it where it's a desperation move, and Bryan succeeds at doing this. So whoever helped him agent the match, good job there. Bryan rocks Corbin with a series of kicks, and then Bryan applies an ankle lock, but it's broken up. Bryan attempts a running drop kick in the corner, but there's a deep six for the close near fall. Bryan recovers, attempts a suicide dive, but Corbin catches him and fought back. But Bryan fought back with kicks. Corbin grabs the ladder and torses it Bryan for the disqualification. And then I wanted to claw my eyes out with a shrimp fork. We've just built a match for several minutes, more than 10 minutes. That's phenomenal. I want to see who wins. I really care who wins. I care more about Baron Corbin than I did going in. I already liked Daniel Bryan, but I like him more because he gets something out of Corbin. And then we do a disqualification finish. Because we can't beat Corbin because he's the king, and we can't beat Bryan because he's the favorite. And oh yeah, there's no one in the building anyway, and no one's going to remember in 2 weeks anyhow. Lazy, North American lazy booking. Give us a finish. That way, somebody actually gets over, but we can't have that in WWE now, can we? Anyway, after the match, Corbin's furious. And then we go back to Braun Strowman. He comes out for a promo. I'm not really a Braun fan right now. I really never have been, but I did enjoy him when he was doing some stuff with Lesnar. What was that, more than a year ago? Strowman says he's been spending time reflecting on his time with the Wyatts. And then Firefly Funhouse pops up. Man, Bray Wyatt is, if he's writing this stuff, he can write a sociopathic, psychopathic character so well. I hope the guy, when he's done with wrestling, gets into Hollywood if he's writing some of his own stuff. If he's not, and there's a writer out there that's writing for him, it's phenomenal. So anyway, Bray tells the story of a shepherd who saw a black sheep, and he's wandering alone, and he brings him in, and he brings him home, and he raises the sheep, and they have a good time together, and then the black sheep leaves and abandons the shepherd, and everybody else abandons the shepherd, and the shepherd is lonely, and he's depressed, and the story fell apart, and then the government took the shepherd's land, and the reptilians showed up. I don't know where this came from, except maybe Bray Wyatt is a fan of Alex Jones. I don't really get where the tie-in was with this, but it was fun while it lasted. Wyatt said he didn't like the sad ending, wants a different ending. Invites Strowman to join him, but Strowman interrupts, says he's finished with the Firefly Funhouse, challenges Wyatt to come to the ring, and Wyatt just walks away. Now, this is supposed to lead to a match. My voice cracks. Yay. This is supposed to lead to a match in like 10 days at the pay-per-view. No one cares because no one knows, because no announcer told us that that's what this leads to. It's just a time filler, and nobody said, oh, by the way, they're going to fight. They're going to tussle in 9 days, 10 days, whatever it is, because they just assume we know, or they don't care enough to tell us. I haven't figured out which yet. Anyway, Sheamus versus Leon Ruff. I've seen Leon Ruff as part of Evolve. I like Leon Ruff. I do not like him for Sheamus, and I do not like the fact we're wasting Sheamus, a former multi-time world champion, and World Tag Team Champion and Intercontinental Champion and U.S. Champion and blah, blah, blah. I don't like the fact we're wasting him in throwaway segments. I think it's stupid. If you really don't have access to talent, then do a personality profile piece. There's no reason to have squash matches this many weeks in a row for Sheamus because A, the guy's getting older, B, he hasn't been reestablished to the point where people that weren't around for his last run a year or two ago or whatever it was would care, and C, backbreakers and power moves, including a broad kick on an enhancement talent, are not going to get a guy over. Somehow Sheamus has a problem with Michael Cole, and then asks about Jeff Hardy. Then that leads into looking at Jeff Hardy's comeback. Now, number one, Jeff Hardy is a talented person. Jeff Hardy is, in a lot of ways, the voice and visual depiction of a generation. Jeff Hardy is not my cup of tea, but I get it. He was to a generation what in maybe Tiger Mask was to my generation of original fans. Somebody who's flashy, somebody who stands out, somebody who you have difficulty forgetting. Another example of this would be the Great Muta for folks that were around when he infiltrated WCW in the let's say 89 through 92 era. That being said, Jeff Hardy's pushing 40, if not over 40. And a video package covering the fact that he's coming back from a knee injury and he's coming back from, substance abuse and all this. Great, he's coming back next week. Except, most people want the Hardy Boys, and the other Hardy Boy is in AEW, and it's not addressed. Now, I know the age-old rule from the territory days is you don't mention other companies. Guess what? It's almost 40 years ago now. We can mention Matt went other places and I feel abandoned. Now I'm the only one that can carry the Hardy name here in WWE, and people will identify with that and actually might get Jeff over some. Anyway, they don't do that. They just, make Jeff look like a guy who's got one more run in him maybe, but he looks old and out of touch. Caleb Braxton interviews Mandy Rose and Otis in the back. Otis notes he's beaten Dolph Ziggler before, including at Mania, says he's going to do it again tonight, and it'll take him to Money in the Bank, and he's doing it for his Peach and Mandy Rose. There's an ask about Sonya Deville. Rose is more concerned with Carmella, and she kisses Otis on the cheek, and Otis basically has a happy time thinking about adult positions of Mandy Rose. Anyway, so we come back. Another Money in the Bank qualifier. Carmella and Mandy Rose. Carmella has been in Money in the Bank before. I don't know if Mandy Rose has. I don't think so. Maybe she has. Yeah, I think there's a promo where, Sonya Deville says, actually, yeah, there's a promo in a minute here where she says she gave up her spot for and all this. But, regardless, Mandy Rose is the hot hand right now. Carmella kind of isn't. And we need new blood because what we have isn't working. Look at the ratings. So, and oh, by the way, who put the girls on SmackDown in, like, a tanning booth and left them there since, like, Easter? Man, they look leathery and off-color. Did anybody notice this, or is it just me? Comment in the comments below if you notice that they look like orange goblins. Anyway, so early advantage Carmella. Rose comes out, then suddenly Sonya Deville comes out. Her music hits, so the sound guy must be getting happy fun times or something. Anyway, Deville speaks. She says she gave her spot to Mandy Rose last year, Money in the Bank. Finish came as a result of Sonya's distraction. Carmella wins. After the match, Deville snaps and she goes and attacks Rose. Trainer checks on Mandy, and Otis checks on her too to make sure she's okay. Otis left, ran into Ziggler. Ziggler wanted to know how Rose was doing. Otis just stared at him, and we're done. Now, next comes a completely useless tag team match. Completely useless because we haven't built up the non-title challengers sufficiently enough that they should be non-title challengers. I remember when every match meant something, and the Forgotten Sons of, and let me look at their names because I don't remember them because they haven't been promoted properly. The Forgotten Sons with Jax Riker versus the New Day. Okay, so I don't even remember what their names are, nor do I care, and I'm not going to go search for it. Forgotten Sons on the main roster, and no one would care if the building was full. No one cares while the building is empty. Miz and John Morrison, who are 27 times more connected with the audience, are sitting in on commentary. Miz and Morrison make several references to Tiger King and Joe Exotic, which pop culture references, fine. But if they're not going somewhere like the guy's coming in to do a cameo or something, then what's the point? Who cares? And then New Day takes the early advantage. They hit double teams. Forgotten Sons take over. Big E hits a massive splash. Then we go to commercial. Big E regains control. Wesley Blake hits a suicide dive. Forgotten Sons hit a double spine buster for a near fall. And then Big E is isolated in the wrong corner, cut him off from Kofi. Blake applies a chinlock, which looks like it's straight out of 1972. Big E breaks the hold. Blake recovered and backed Big E into the corner. Kingston and Cutler. So I guess the team of the Forgotten Sons is Cutler and Wesley Blake. Okay, I don't know anything about either guy other than the fact that that's their names. So again, I'm still not any more invested. Then we see a block trouble in paradise. Blake is distracted. Cutler covers and hits a backbreaker for a near fall. Kingston pushes off Cutler off the top rope, and then Kingston rolls through and hits a double foot stomp for a near fall. Lots of moves that really are just moves. And then we go to Kingston. Misses a top rope move of his own. Bad guys regain control. Backstabber on Kingston. And then there's an elbow drop for near fall. New Day recovers. Big E attempts a spear. And then we see Forgotten hit a reverse DDT foot stomp combination for the win. Hoorah! A no-name team wins against the tag team champions and makes us care even less about the tag team championship. Cole and Graves announce the match that's upcoming. Kayla Braxton interviews Tamina. She says she's not going to be intimidated by Sasha Banks and Bayley. Banks approaches Tamina and distracts her. Bayley and Banks jump Tamina. They beat her down until Lacey Evans runs in, runs them off. All four women brawled until underlings broke it up. Ziggler spoke to Sonya Deville, basically saying that people think that Otis is a big deal. He's really not. He's just average. He would never make it in the real world. He's not a winner. Ziggler promised to win the Money in the Bank and go on and recapture the championship. Yada, yada, basic stuff. And now the final match of the night. Also, final Money in the Bank qualifier of the night, as Otis defeats Dolph Ziggler. So let's get this straight. A Bushwhacker Santina Marilla combo plate defeats a former world champion, and this is normal. I get that they're pushing the character. I don't get why they're pushing it this hard. They're wasting Dolph Ziggler, and he's getting older. You know, controlled by Otis early in the match, standing vertical suplex, and then Otis follows up with a slam. Otis misses a charge in the corner. Ziggler pushes Otis into the barricade on the outside. Back from the break, and standing dropkick by Ziggler. Ziggler's obviously outworking the guy. Otis fires up, hits Ziggler into the corner. Otis attempts a caterpillar, but Ziggler rolls to the apron, and then Ziggler set up for a super kick, but Otis caught Ziggler and threw him across the ring. Otis then hit a caterpillar for the win and qualifies for Money in the Bank. This should not be a main event segment on a nationally syndicated or nationally broadcast mainstream broadcast. This is stupid. Equally not so great is a six-man tag match next week. Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak, and a mystery partner take on Corbin, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Unless the mystery partner is somebody of major value, no one's going to care, and it's going to be another letdown. Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt meet face-to-face in the ring next week. Didn't we just have a contract signing on Raw where they do the face-to-face BS? Anyway, that's SmackDown for the 1st of May 2020. Like, subscribe, comment below, and we will be back with a new series we are going to do for the duration of the month of May. We're going to hope to get through the nearly 100 episodes of the Tuesday Night Titans 1984 through 86 run, available on the WWE Network. We're going to do audio reviews of those, so join us on what's going to be, hopefully, a fun journey. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.